What's up, Midnight Strikers? I am back with a brand new review, and today we're going to be talking about the new Shinedown album, Threat to Survival, that just dropped yesterday. And I'm going to be talking about it today, but before we go any further in this review, just let me tell you, if you're one of those people that can't take constructive criticism of one of your favorite bands at face value and add to a debate with your opinions without resorting to personal attacks, X out of this video because you're not going to like what I'm about to say right now. Compared to the awesome album that Amaryllis was, the emotionally uplifting yet still got that sense of Shinedown flair to it, this album is a critical disappointment. With the exception of Cut the Cord, all of these songs sound like they could be played in a commercial for maybe like a feel-good store, kind of like Kohl's or Wal-Mart or any of those brands, like a clothing store, or in the elevator. Heck, I could have sworn I heard most of these songs when I was working at the hospital, cleaning. You know, over and over again, they play the same 5 songs, and they played Let It Go. I mean, maybe not these songs in particular, but songs just like this would probably just be playing in the store, on the radio, or anything like that, or in a commercial. That's what it sounds like. And all of these songs sound like they were just slapped together last second with a feel-good kind of vibe, especially with the songs State of My Head and It All Adds Up. These are probably the weakest songs that Shinedown have ever written. Now, Cut the Cord was a very promising start to this album. I absolutely love that song, especially hearing it live and hearing Brent Smith pretty much lay down all the notes in perfect sequential order. I mean, honestly, that guy can really hit every single note on that song. However, when he played all the older material, he needed help. He had troubles singing Fly From the Inside, 45, Simple Man, obviously all 3 from the other albums, but really the only songs that he could really do perfectly, and I mean absolutely perfectly, were on Amaryllis. I mean, even if you only knew, he sounded a little bit off his game, but it was pretty good for what it was. I honestly think that Brent Smith is kind of losing his voice just a little bit, but it's understandable. I mean, going through everything that he went through, you know, the weight gain, losing all that weight, the emotional struggles, and just everything, the drugs, it adds up. It takes its toll, and it's understandable. But he still sounds pretty good on this album, especially considering all things considered. The problem with that, though, is he uses auto-tune on some of the songs where you can tell he doesn't need it. Especially on the song Asking For It. He did not use auto-tune on that song live, but he used it on the album, in the studio. Why? If you can hit the notes, why do you need a crutch? You know? That's what I'm wondering. And on the topic of auto-tune, or on the topic of Asking For It, excuse me, this is one of the first blaring problems with this. When I first heard it live, I thought it was a song off of Us and Them, because I had never at the time listened to Us and Them, and I thought it was just one of those underground, obscure kind of songs that they never played, because it's mediocre. I thought it was mediocre live. I think it's mediocre on this album. But not quite to the point of State of My Head. State of My Head uses filler words, it uses repetition, it pretty much uses everything that every generic pop song would use to make a radio-friendly song, and it's 3 minutes and 25 seconds, so it falls right in between that 3 to 5 minutes worth of radio airplay songs. You know, every single radio song pretty much falls in between 3 to 5 minutes. Every song on here is 3 minutes and some odd seconds, with the exception of Misfits, which, honestly, that song is probably another point that I wanted to bring up, because listening to that song was honestly really boring. Much like a lot of the other songs on this album, but especially this song. As a closer, it definitely failed to wrap everything up in a nice little bow and, you know, basically tell you this is what the album was about, this is what we're going to sound like, this is what we're going to go with in the future. You know, usually a closer, a send-off, will send you off on a high note. Not this album. Really the only song that I can recommend on this album, songs I should say, is Cut the Cord, because it's awesome. It sounds like old Shinedown, of course, you know, all their other stuff pre-Amaryllis, and of course Black Cadillac. And I say Black Cadillac, you might be thinking that I thought that song was boring, but it has a very nice catch to it. It's catchy, it has a nice melody, you know, it's got that feel-good kind of vibe that the other songs have that I didn't really care for. However, it is very fun to listen to. So, really, this entire album is just kind of filled with songs that sound the same, with the exception of Cut the Cord. Cut the Cord, I honestly don't know why they put it on this album, because it sounds like it belongs on one of their other albums, one of their heavier albums. If they would have left out Cut the Cord, this album would have been worse, yeah, but it would have flown a lot better. It would have had a lot more flow to it. It's just very jarring, going from a popish song like Asking For It into Cut the Cord, which is like almost hard rock, you know? And I don't know, it's just the feel-good elevator music kind of vibe, the commercialism doesn't really fit Shinedown, in my opinion. And they don't really do it all that well. Yes, they had some mainstream success with Sound of Madness and Amaryllis. As I said, the radio murdered that album practically. Sound of Madness, I mean. But Amaryllis managed to, you know, at least put some uplifting themes in it, as well as that feel-good vibe, without ruining what Shinedown was previously. So, really, this album is a massive disappointment to me. I don't like it at all, to say the least. Like I said, you guys are gonna, you know, fling crap at me and say, you know, oh, I'm not understanding it, or Shinedown evolved and they're doing different things and all that stuff. Yeah, whatever. That's the excuse everyone gives if they like something that everyone else doesn't. Oh, they're the hipster that likes something, you know. But if you honestly, genuinely do like this album, that's fine. Everyone has their opinions. But don't be flinging crap at me saying that I don't understand what this album was trying to accomplish just because I, myself, personally don't like it. If I don't like something, I'm gonna say it. So, I don't like this album. This album is disappointing. It's very bland. It doesn't have any flow to it, with the exception of, you know, with Cut the Cord in there. It's just kind of like the nail in the coffin, pretty much. Except for Cut the Cord is the only good song on the album, with the exception of Black Cadillac. Other than that, the album flows just fine, I suppose. But my point is, Shinedown can do much, much better than this. Even the cover is a disappointment. Even the album cover. I mean, I saw that thing, I was like, well, what is this? What's with the red? I was expecting, like, maybe if you put the snake and the egg in a jungle setting with a tiger or something, you know, threat to survival. It makes me think of something vicious, not passive-aggressive. I had to throw that in there. But, yeah, 5 out of 10. Disappointing. I'm sorry. I don't like this album. Cut the Cord is a standout, as well as, you know, Thieves, or Thick as Thieves. I had to look at the song name. Thick as Thieves is alright, I suppose. And Black Cadillac's pretty decent. But other than that, those 3 songs, this album is just... That's all I have to say. 5 out of 10. This is Midnight Strike 3625. Keep calm and rock on.